Alright guys, welcome back to the channel where today we're going to be talking about the new patch update for WWE 2K20, as despite initially stating that the patch would take around 2 weeks to complete, the patch was instead released this afternoon on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. The size of the patch depends on the platform that you're playing on, as the Xbox patch clocks in at over 10GB, whilst the PS4 patch is 4.7 and the PC version just 175MB. Why there's such a difference, I have absolutely no idea. However, it could come down to the different compression methods that are used for each console and then on PC. As for the patch itself and the fixes that it contains, 2K did release a list of patch notes which I'm going to run through. However, upon testing it, it's clear that a lot of these weren't actually fixed. So to go through the list of updates that are supposedly contained in the patch, we have gameplay and controls, graphics and clipping, hair physics, hit detection and aiming, interactions with tables, ladders, steel steps and other objects, referee actions, on-screen button prompts, characters warping or moving unnaturally around the arena, crashes and freezing, image downloads, entrances and attires, universe mode editing and saving, custom and created superstars and creation modes, commentary and sound effects, and online stability, matchmaking, desyncs and lag. As you can tell from that list, it is very vague and it doesn't really give any specifics about the changes themselves, which only becomes even more frustrating when you try out some of the things listed and find that they still have problems. So to give you an example of what I mean, I'm going to run through the list and point out what has actually been fixed and what there is still problems with. So to start off, let's go gameplay and controls, as this was first on the list and it was something that was set to be addressed. However, should you load up the controls section or the gameplay options, everything in here appears to be exactly the same as it was, with no option to adjust the controls or revert back to the old ones, which is something that was highly requested. Meanwhile, graphics and clipping is also noted in the list of things that have been fixed. However, again, this doesn't seem to be the case, as body parts continue to go through each player, and clothing parts such as Adam Cole's elbow pads also suffer from clipping issues. Moving on to hair physics, which was another thing that received a huge backlash, 2K have updated Bianca Belair's entrance and fixed her hair. However, should you load up a match with Charlotte or anyone else that lacked hair physics, then you'll still find that the hair defies gravity when upside down, not just in regular gameplay, but also in cutscenes within the 2K showcase. Switching to the next point, which is hit detection, here we do have some updates, as you can see the player now targets the opponent before commencing the strike, whereas previously they would just perform the strike in the direction that they were facing. Unfortunately, even with this update, this doesn't fix the problems with certain weapons, as chairs or anything that work like a chair, such as the gravestones, still run into problems with hit detection, as you can see from this clip. As for the interactions with tables, ladders and steel steps, the issue with the steps falling into the mat and breaking the ring has now been resolved, as should you try an environmental move on the steps, then this now works correctly. As a bonus update to weapons, there's also an update to the customization of the weapon wheel, as you can now add both tables and ladders via the miscellaneous tab, meaning it's now possible to have up to 6 tables or 6 ladders in regular matches, and then you can also have even more if you play a table match or a ladder match. When it comes to the referee, from what I tested, I didn't encounter any problems in gameplay or cutscenes, so that may now be fixed. However, I feel this is one of those things that will need testing long term, as it only happened at random. Meanwhile, on-screen button prompts are something that appear to have been fixed, as previously resiliency was incorrectly shown as triangle or Y. However, this has now been updated to show the correct combination, which is R2 in triangle or RT in Y if you're on Xbox. Warping was the next point on the list. However, again, I feel this is something that will need tested thoroughly before it can be confirmed as fixed, with the same being said for crashing and freezing, as the list doesn't confirm what instances caused these problems to begin with. Meanwhile, there is some good news for creators, as the image uploader is now working, therefore you can download images to your account. However, the bad news is that applying a face texture still sees it move when adjusting the face points, which makes it extremely hard to create a good looking face unless the eyes, nose and the mouth line up perfectly without any adjustments. Entrances and attires is something that I kind of touched on earlier with the Adam Cole example, as there are still attire problems that see parts disappearing. As for universe mode editing and saving, this isn't something that I've tested myself. However, universe mode players will be glad to know that the general consensus from social media is that this is now working. Moving on, and we have custom and created superstars and creation modes, which I really don't know what to say here, other than the fact that from what I tested, the creation suite is still a complete mess. Applying certain parts will cause hair to jump up above the head still, Jeff's sleeves still randomly float next to the arm, and you can't edit his face paint. Loading up this creation as an example, you'll find that the hair does sort itself out in the match, however the glitched sleeves are still a problem as they appear completely disfigured. These problems aren't just limited to Jeff and his parts, as should you apply other creation parts such as the Fiend's jacket, then this too causes floating issues and missing body parts. Moving on, and the next point we have is commentary and sound effects, which for the most part I haven't experienced any issues with, although I do know there are odd lines from Jerry Lawler and botched lines from Greg Hamilton, however these weren't things that I could test as they appear to occur randomly. Finally, the last point on the list was changes to online to improve stability, matchmaking, desyncs and lag, however with all the other problems this wasn't something that I even attempted. So there you go, that's the list of all the updates included in patch 1.02. There are some fixes, however the majority of what is listed as having been addressed clearly hasn't been, as you can see from these examples. So I will say that after trying out the patch today and seeing all these issues, I was asked for feedback about the patch from 2K, therefore I've put together a document with examples of all these issues and screenshots of the footage in the video, as that feedback is going to be sent over to the developers so they can then take a look and address some of these problems, so it is something that they're going to be aware of. However, whether or not it gets fixed is a completely different story, as it was supposed to be fixed in this patch, but it is clearly still broken. Anyway guys, that is where I'm going to leave this video, as I don't know what else to say at this point, but do let me know in the comments how you found the patch and if it's addressed any of the concerns that you've experienced. Until next time though, have yourself an awesome day, and I'll catch you later.